wanting this.
Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
This is it. Don't get scared.
Welcome to a brand new Flick Pick live show, Friday night edition, and the feeling is right. Thank you so much for joining me on this glorious Friday night. I hope every single one of you is doing great tonight. And I know I'm doing okay, but I'll tell you what will make me do even better. It's this delicious, caffeinated, well, I already just lied to you, non-caffeinated Sprite Zero. Now, when it comes to Sprite Zeros, if I could replace all of the water in all of the oceans across the planet with Sprite Zero, and every time I turned on my shower to bathe myself, and Sprite Zero could flow out of the faucet into my hair, I would do it. That's how much I like Sprite Zero. So anyway, let me open this bad boy up. Ooh, it's so carbonated. It always wants to explode, but that's the excitement every time I open up a Sprite Zero. I will drink this momentarily, but once again, thanks so much for joining me. How are you guys doing? And tonight on the live show, I want to talk about a few big movie topics. The first one is the canceled Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Last Ronin movie, which I wanted to see. And is it just me, or is it every time that a cool movie is announced that has an awesome concept where you think to yourself, wow, that actually sounds like a movie I would want to watch? They always just cancel that shit. And then we're going to talk about the brand new movie, Wicked for Good, love it or hate it. We're going to dive into that. And I will just say, I think I liked part one much better than part two. But anyway, before we go into all of those topics, feel free to get your questions, your topics in. We will dive into all of those glorious topics momentarily. But first, I want to give a quick mention to something cool I'm doing and I'm working with. It's a really cool thing. If you guys are aspiring to be YouTubers or you want some insights on YouTube or some tips and some tricks, well, definitely check out masteryyoutube.com. Now, the coolest thing about all of this is I'm actually working with them and doing my own course about live streaming. I know, it's crazy. What is this guy doing? I don't know. But I'm doing it. So if you guys want a crash course, and that's what I'm going to call it, it's the Flick Pick Unleashed course, as I think we're calling it as of right now. But it should go live next week. But currently, you can join masteryyoutube.com. They're having a special Black Friday sale. So if you guys want step-by-step courses to master YouTube, you can even do it with your phone. And I never thought, starting YouTube 15 years ago, the things that you can just do with the YouTube Studio app is mind-boggling to me. Like, you can literally edit videos now. I would have killed for such features. But anyway, I'm going to put a link down below to masteryyoutube.com. If you guys are aspiring YouTubers, content creators, you want tutorials, courses, inside tips, tricks, you name it, it's all right there. The link is down below. And once again, my course will go live next week. It's going to be pretty sweet. I think you guys are going to like it. I break down everything that I know about live streaming, everything that I do. A lot of people have asked over the years, John, how do you do this for live streaming? How do you do that? Sometimes I don't even know what I'm going to do, and I just push record and hope for the best. And then I bring party poppers just in case, because hey, who doesn't like a great party popper? I know I do, especially to the face. So anyway, definitely check out masteryoutube.com down below. My course will go live next week. It should be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. And then here's my course right there. It's called Livestream Unleashed. Check out the box art for it. Now, you don't actually get a physical copy of my course, though I wish you could, because physical media is that much better. But yeah, it's my special cool course. I'm still currently working on it. It's taking a lot of effort to get just right, but it should be very fulfilling and, as I always like to say, somewhat magical and somewhat mystical. If you want some tips and tricks on live streaming. And even if you don't, go sign up for the course anyway. That way you can look at my stupid face. But it will be a good time, so definitely check that out. The link is down below once again, and they are having a very special Black Friday sale. Okay. All right. I feel good about all of that. And what do you say And thank you guys so much for getting the questions in. I see all of you. I feel like Jake Sully in Avatar. I see you. Now let's connect our little blue tails under the tree of life as those little tingly wingly things come out of the bottom of them, and then they connect like this. It's so intimate and disgusting at the same time, but I love it. Okay, so let's dive into the main topic today, and the main topic I want to talk about first is the canceled Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin movie, which was going to be rated R. And that just sounds like a wet dream come true. Ever since I was a stupid little kid, I've been a huge fan of the original 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Secret of the Ooze, I enjoyed it just as much. Now, is it better? Absolutely not. Do they take away all of the Ninja Turtles' weapons because they wanted to PG it so much and they didn't want to offend parents? That way they could have little kids watch it, not want to have a staff and stab their little brother in the neck with it? Yeah, probably. But that's besides the point. I'm a huge fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The jacket might be a dead giveaway. I even have a shirt that says sewer rat on it. And gosh golly gee whiz, I wish I was raised by a sewer rat. Where was I going with that? Oh, yes. So when it comes to the canceled Last Ronin movie, the concept behind this movie is just so awesome. It begs the question, why do studios always cancel the coolest shit when it comes to movies that could be amazing and go above and beyond what we could ever expect, utilizing an IP in a different, unique way? So when it comes to The Last Ronin, if you don't know what the basic concept is, it takes place in a futuristic dystopian. And you have one Ninja Turtle. He is the Last Ronin. Unfortunately, all three of his brothers were violently murdered, and he's seeking vengeance. But there's also a lot of character study moments going on throughout this storyline. He has survivor guilt. But the cool thing is, he's utilizing all the weapons of his fallen brothers. And it's sort of like a gritty Ninja Turtles meets Batman in this dystopian society where he seeks vengeance and justice. And doesn't that just sound like a cool-ass movie that you would want to go see? But of course, Paramount canceled this. So when it comes to the Turtles franchise, the last attempt that we got at a live-action Ninja Turtles movie was that Michael Bay produced bloated pile of CG garbage featuring Megan Fox playing April O'Neil, which I much prefer her April O'Neil than the latest incarnation that we got in Mutant Mayhem, which I thought was a fine little animated movie. It definitely borrowed the Spider-Verse anime style look and aesthetics. I thought it was an okay movie. I watched it once. Would I go back and watch it ever again? Probably not. But getting back to that Michael Bay Ninja Turtles oozy movie that came out almost a decade ago, I hated both of those movies. I hated everything about them. I thought the version that they had of Shredder in those films was an abomination. I thought when they had Krang in that movie, though it looked like Krang, everything surrounding it just didn't feel like the Ninja Turtles. It just felt like a really sterile, bloated corporate movie crapped out by Hollywood, capitalizing on an IP with Ninja Turtles that looked like they took too much human growth hormone and just didn't quite have the aesthetics of what I expect from a Ninja Turtles, or at least when I close my eyes and I think back to the glory days of my childhood playing with little Ninja Turtles in the bathtub for hours on end. And yes, I even had a Casey Jones action figure. I know. But anyway, I miss those times. But I would love a rated R Ninja Turtles movie. Now, I understand if you make an R-rated Turtles movie, it doesn't quite hit that quadrant category that Hollywood's looking for, where it appeases everyone. And nowadays, Ninja Turtles has sort of become a child's property. And that's fair enough. I mean, they do make toys and video games and t-shirts for 5-year-old children. And they also make jackets for grown men who just want an excuse to play with Ninja Turtles. But I truly feel like if you went back and gave that franchise that rated R stamp of grittiness and badassery, it would reinvigorate it for an entire new generation. And then you could have spin-offs amongst spin-offs of other things. And it's just such a big letdown that we're not going to get that. Now, I've heard rumors, because I have the inside scoop from Hollywood as a guy who lives in Indiana, and everything I just said for the last 10 seconds is a blatant lie. But I've heard rumors on Reddit that what Paramount wants to do with the Turtles franchise is sort of Sonicify it. And what I mean by that is because Sonic, the video game property of the little blue hedgehog who goes really fast, which I haven't really enjoyed a Sonic game since he was side-scrolling in Sonic 2, they basically want to do that with the Ninja Turtles franchise. And I get the logic there behind that, but really when it comes to Sonic, those movies didn't even feel like the video games to me. It just felt like you were taking the character Sonic and throwing him into a live action movie that you could have just replaced Sonic with Alvin and the Chipmunks. That's what those movies felt like to me. Sort of just disposable and one-time watches at best. So with all that said, what do you guys think about this canceled Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Last Ronin movie? It just takes away all hope. Every time we have a cool concept for a movie that's announced, they just take it away from us. And I have a very strong feeling, and this just comes from my innermost, deepest loins, whatever that means. I really feel like if they do make another live-action TMNT movie, it's going to sort of be like what they did with the Fast and Furious. It's just going to be this big bloated thing. But what it should be is simple and gritty and at the street level. And hear me out for a second. If it were up to me, and I can't have TMNT The Last Ronin, which, once again, what a cool concept. If you're going to reboot the Turtles, their story should take place in the late 1980s, early 1990s. That is the time period that they should exist in. The aesthetics, the look of the city, the vibe, the atmosphere of New York, it just lent itself perfectly to the Turtles. I don't want to see modern day Ninja Turtles. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see them using smartphones. I don't want the internet. I don't want any of that shit. I just want pizza, and I want sewers, and I want Casey Jones looking like a homeless man with a mullet wearing a hockey mask. Is that too much to ask for? Is that too much to ask for? So anyway, what are your guys' thoughts on this canceled movie? Please share those down below. Ooze is Kino. I loved me some Kino. Kino inspired me to become a pizza delivery driver because I thought if I was a pizza delivery driver, maybe just maybe one day I would deliver the right pizza and I would come across 4 Mutant Ninja Turtles taking out the Foot Clan and I could potentially maybe join them. That was my hope. That was my inspiration. I never quite got there, but I did deliver pizzas to a meth head once at a motel that tried to rob me. But that's a story for another time. That's very disappointing. Re-TMNT film being canceled. It really is, man. It really is. I didn't grow up with the Turtles. It was before my time. Well, man, it's never too late. Go back and watch the original. Even watch Secret of the Ooze. Heck, you know what? Just listen to some Go Ninja by Vanilla Ice later tonight. I'm bummed out about The Last Ronin, but hopefully it's because they're working on something better. I feel like that something better is going to be like a TMNT movie that's like Sonic. It's going to be PG, and it's just going to be just baby muck. It's just going to be ooze. Hey, John, what's your favorite video game? Favorite video game of all time? That's a tough one. You know, I go back and forth with a multitude of different ones. If you want online play, the one that I've played the most, and I'm not even proud to say it, has been probably the Call of Duty games. But growing up, Super Mario World was my jam, and it still is. Every time I play that game, it takes me to a happy place. And it gives me like weird nostalgic goosebumps every time I play it. And it's kind of a difficult game when you really play it. I mean, if you go through Star World, you can beat the game in 7 minutes. But if you actually play the game, there's some hard castles in that shit. Also, Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I wish I could say I've beaten that game, but I've never beaten Zombies Ate My Neighbor. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I wish that was a true statement, but I've never beaten it. I've gotten really far, but it's just like that game is too damn hard, man. You run out of lives. My favorite version of TMNT is the 2003 animated show. Yeah, I wasn't really big into the 2000s animated shows. I like the video games. Oh, another one of my favorite video games is Turtles in Time. Now, if I had the room, I would definitely buy that arcade cabinet. I think that is a great side-scroller. I quite enjoy it. The music, the vibe of it, so replayable to me. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next topic here. And the next topic I want to talk about is I watched the brand new movie, Wicked for Good. All right. So when it comes to Wicked, I was not a big fan going into the original movie Wicked Part 1 last year. Now, my wife is a hardcore fan of Wicked. She's seen the stage play. She's actually at Wicked for Good tonight because, well, she's a huge fan and she just saw it last night with me and she's seeing it again. So she's a hardcore fanatic of it. But when it comes to me, as a dude, I have seen the stage play of Wicked with my wife, and I will say, as a guy who respects and appreciates production quality and an interesting story, I thought the stage play was a lot of fun. But much like that stage play, Wicked Part 2 is sort of meandering, and it doesn't have the same pace and vibe and build-up and as many memorable musical numbers as Part 1. And that's exactly how I feel about the stage play, and that's exactly how I feel about the movies. Part 1 is far superior, and it leaves off on that high note of defying gravity, and then after that, you sort of plummet back down to earth. And not to say that Wicked Part 2 was bad or atrocious, and listen, if you already don't like the franchise of Wicked, well, you're not going to like Part 2, but if you like the play in Part 1, Wicked Part 2 is fulfilling. I think it's a fine adaptation of the play, but for me, it went on a little too long. There's a lot of storylines and plots that don't quite they don't go down the yellow brick road as well as they should. But with all of that said, on a positive note, the thing I like about Wicked, and especially Wicked Part 2, where it dives into the more depressing aspects of the story, where people are just losing their will to live, to say the least. I like that it sort of intertwines the classic story of Wizard of Oz throughout Wicked, and especially more in the second and third acts of the movie. But the thing I most appreciate about Wicked is everyone in Oz is sort of being forced to live a lie. No one is happy with the life they're living. It's all propaganda. The entire Oz that they know is propaganda. And when you step back, the entire story, and this is what Wicked does, is it makes the original fairy tale and the lore of Wizard of Oz essentially misguided propaganda. And when you step back behind the true events that led to that and inspired those things, it was sort of like a lot of betrayal and lies and deceit that went on behind the scenes. And that's sort of reminiscent to life, is it not? Like all these great grandiose stories that we know as a society, well, they were propagated by like some lie or some deceit to make someone or something look better than it was. Because everyone has a narrative. And even the great and powerful Oz, played by Jeff Goldblum, who I think is probably one of my favorite things about Wicked. Say what you will about Wicked, but Jeff Goldblum is great. There's one scene where he's holding a key and he goes, "Ooh, look, a key. Here you go. Aren't you surprised?" And you could just tell it was improv and it was hilarious. I don't think a lot of people in the theater got the humor. I really don't. I think it fell flat on them. I don't know. Maybe they just don't understand the comedic genius of Jeff Goldblum. But anyway, when it comes to Wicked for Good, when it comes to Ariana Grande and, the other actress, I know her name, but it's Cynthia Reith something. We'll just call her Alphaba and Galinda for the sake of this review. Erivo. Cynthia Erivo. There you go. Listen, when they're in character, when Ariana Grande is like airbrushed to look like human and she has color and pigment to her skin, and Cynthia Erivo is airbrushed green, their characters are fun. It's a good dynamic, okay? Now, when you step back outside of the glitz and glamour and the lights of Hollywood studios and the digitization that they put on these characters, there's a lot of weird, bizarre things going on in real life. Okay, and it's a bit unsettling if you really look at it and pay attention to it. And there's a lot going on there. And I think in another decade, once the truth slowly seeps out from behind the scenes, I would love to watch that documentary. But I'm not here to talk about that. Okay, I'm here to talk about the fantastical wonderland known as cinema, where we have pure escapism and we don't have to focus on those weird realities that go on in Hollywood, where everyone's has a lot of trauma and mental illness. But anyway, when it comes to Wicked for Good, I thought it was fine, but I much prefer part one far and away. I just think it's the much better film. I think the pacing is better. I think it lends itself to being more rewatchable. And especially as a musical, I just think it's more entertaining to watch. None of the musical numbers in part two really stuck with me all that much. But with all that said, before I give you my grade on Wicked for Good, I do want to say this, and I might go off on a tangent here, but hear me out just for 1 second. What is it with the color grading in modern day cinema? Why is it everyone is so afraid to have contrast and saturation in their movies? Why is this like a plague? They just can't do it. No. People want to see dull, washed out movies in the cinema. That's what they want. That's what they need. Trust me. It's not. I promise you. I don't pay to go watch washed out shit where it looks like someone took the saturation down 25% and forgot to include any contrast in their film. It literally looks like they shot this movie in log format. And that's essentially what you do when you shoot a movie before you color time it and color grade it, to add all those great things in that give it depth and contrast. And there just isn't much of that. And when I'm watching it, I'm just thinking to myself, this would just be so much more immersive if I could crank up the contrast like 7% and the saturation by 5. And also, I did see it in 3D. And I will say this, just save your money, because the 3D offered absolutely nothing to that experience. If anything, I think it took away. This movie didn't look like it should have been shot in 3D. It didn't look like they had any intention of putting it in 3D. But to capitalize and make a few extra bucks, they slapped 3D on it. So there's that. Don't watch it in 3D. So those are my thoughts on Wicked for Good. If I had to give it a grade, I'd give it that right there. Insert the digital. I'll give it a C. I'll give Wicked for Good a C. It's okay. It's fine. But I liked the first one much, much more. So what did you guys think about Wicked for Good? Are you going to watch it? Do you even give a shit? I don't know. Let me know down below. What did you think about the movie? I saw it in IMAX. Well, did it look good in IMAX? How was it? Have you watched Return to Oz? I watched Return to Oz, the creepy 80s movie, probably once back in the 90s. I don't remember much about it. And when it comes to when it comes to other Wizard of Oz movies, I've been meaning to watch the Wiz, the Michael Jackson Wizard of Oz movie. I would like to watch that one night after a lot of edibles. I've noticed in the Oz, those movies, everyone is too glam. Like, unlike the original, everyone looked normal looking and a lot of green. Oh yeah, when it comes to Wicked for Good, now I don't want to dive into spoilers, but you do get that lore that you have grown to know over the last 100 years of Wizard of Oz movies. And you do see some iconic characters make sort of a return to the big screen. And one of those characters looked pretty good, in my opinion. But the other one, this dude looked like a sack of potatoes, but made out of plastic. It was really bizarre and unsettling, and it was almost comedic. And I cannot wait till someone uploads it to the internet so I can take a screen grab of it, because it is pure nightmare fuel. So yeah, look out for all of that. Everyone should watch The Wizard of Oz if they've never seen it. Absolutely. One of the most timeless tales of all time that came out in 1939. And by the way, did you know this? In another 10 years, the IP, the copyright to the original 1939 Wizard of Oz, guess what? It's going to be completely open source. You can take it, you can do what you want with it. I could re-upload the Wizard of Oz to my YouTube channel and profit from it. Isn't that crazy? So that's kind of cool. In like 10 years, anyone that wants to take the Wizard of Oz and do whatever they want with it, it's free to do. The copyright has been released. It's free. So really cool. I will say this about Wizard of Oz. I did want to see the Wizard of Oz at the Las Vegas Sphere. They had like a really cool version of it. Now it was condensed and they had some AI, but all the clips I watched of it, it looked like a cool experience to watch Wizard of Oz. At one point, they even had like falling apples, and the twister scene was really intense, and they had wind blowing. It just looked kind of neat. Now, was it worth $150 for those tickets? I don't know if I'd go that far, but it looked like an interesting time. Okay. Yeah, I've never read the Wizard of Oz books. John, flex your biceps. There you go. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll show them a little bit later when I'm feeling frisky. We got to get there, though. And I promise you we will get there. Okay. Let's scroll back a little bit here. And I had a couple questions earlier. Let's scroll back. Here we go. Okay, we had a couple questions from Sebastian, who says, what recent movie would you improve by adding Carl from Slingblade? I reckon taters. Yeah. So that's funny you said that, man, because literally an hour ago when I was cleaning up in my garage, because that's what you do when you hit your late 30s. You just poke around in the garage, organizing your tools. But anyway, I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast where Billy Bob Thornton was on there, and he did talk about making Slingblade, and he said how he came up with that character was he was feeling kind of shitty about himself in the late 1980s because he wasn't getting big roles. He's like, you're a piece of shit. And what he did was he made that Slingblade face in the mirror when he was feeling sorry for himself. And then he later wrote the movie and directed it himself, and it came out in 1996. But anyway, if I could put Carl in any movie, which movie would it be? That's a great question. Well, what movie wouldn't I want to see the character Carl from Slingblade in? Let's look at Carl from Slingblade right here, which, now, I look at Slingblade, yes, it's a drama. There's some heavy-hitting stuff in that movie. But also, Carl, I'm sorry, I kind of treat it like a dark comedy. It makes me laugh my ass off quite a bit. But maybe that's just me. You got John Ritter. There he is, right there. That's the face. That's the face I love. Now, this to me is sort of like the dark version of what Forrest Gump could have been. Forrest Gump is the most glamorized version of a dude with special needs. Slingblade is sort of like the reality of such an event. And I like the dichotomy of both of those things, but not as much as I like taters. So going back to your question, which movie would I like to see Carl from Slingblade in? That's a great question. I'm going to ask you guys that. Which movie would Carl from Slingblade fit best in? I really don't know the answer to that. And I wish I did. I was thinking Carl in Titanic as Jack. That would be glorious. Don't jump. No, not water stab you like 1,000 knives. Terrible impressions. Let's just keep going. Anyway, let's go to the next question here immediately. Also from Sebastian, he says, favorite Metallica album minus Kill 'Em All. I always like Master of Puppets the best. The Black Album is also probably my second favorite. But when it comes to Master of Puppets from Metallica back in 1987, the title track itself, Master of Puppets, nothing pumps me up more, man. So I'd go with that. So thanks for the questions. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Caleb, who says, if I ever end up making a real-ass movie, not some indie shit, but some big boys backing me up, what cameo would you want to play? Also, John, I'm not a fan of No Nut November. Who is? I think I'd be best as the comedic sidekick best friend who gives you the solid life advice, who always backs you up, never betrays you, and tells you what you need to hear. That's the guy I would be. And with all that said, I'm basically describing the best friend from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Danny Kupski is his name. Just let's all take a minute and appreciate this ginger with a mullet who saved the entire human civilization. All by saying, when a police officer asks if you've seen your best friend, the best thing you can do is say, nah, I don't know him. And then run over to your best friend. Hey, John, there's some cops scoping for you, man. Go. And then when the T-1000 comes your way, you say, hey, I think I saw that kid. Ah! So that's great. So anyway, that's the best friend I would want to be. We can just ride together on a dirt bike and hack into ATMs and play video games and shit. That's the friend I want to be. So thank you for the question. Okay, the next one comes from, and by the way, Caleb, thanks for the question. You get a party popper. As you guys know, every super chat, $5 over, gets a glorious party popper right to the melon. Okay, Lewis Murphs says, hey, John, do you think that a bad subpar sequel can make people forget how great the previous installment was? The first Creed comes to mind. I think people forgot how great the film was, or at least the first one was. You know, that's a good point, and you do make a solid argument there. A shitty sequel can really undermine the original in some ways, and it can dilute the franchise to the point where you just don't care about it anymore. And a few other movies like that come to mind. You know, for me, I think, okay, Batman Returns was kind of cool. It was okay. But then you get Batman and Robin, that big bloated pile of shit that was just made to sell toys to kids. You basically got a 90-minute toy commercial, and one of Arnold's, I will say this, one of his worst roles, but also sort of enjoyable at the same time when you can step back and laugh at it. Another movie that comes to mind is Transformers. Now, the first Transformers back in 2007, I think that was a fine little Transformers movie. It was action-packed. It was a lot of fun. Megan Fox was in the movie, looking like she was dripping sweat the entire time. And you had Sam Witwicky, played by Shia LaBeouf, before he went completely and utterly crazy. And I had a lot of fun with that movie. But when it comes to the sequel, well, they did everything wrong that they possibly could. And then it ended with giant Transformers balls on top of the pyramid. Did you hear what I just said? Okay. So there's that. So yeah, I absolutely agree with what you're saying. Another example of such franchises would be Fast and Furious. The first movie was basically Point Break with race cars, where you got these dudes stealing truckloads full of shitty VCRs and selling them. Could you imagine stealing a truckload of VCRs? Huh. But anyway, there's that. And then you get the Fast and Furious 2, which was just really, really bad, to say the least. It felt like it should have went direct to DVD. But anyway, you know the sad truth about Too Fast, Too Furious? Not only is it one of the worst best lines ever given by Paul Walker, rest his glorious soul. Can we watch that together real quick? The worst line ever given by Paul Walker. Let's watch that in just 1 second. But I don't even know what I was saying about the movie. It was so bad. But let's watch this shitty scene with Paul Walker, and I like it quite a bit. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Let's turn this up. Ooh, that's loud. Okay, here we go.
Let your man go, huh?
Drop it, I don't want to talk about it.
Drop it, hell. I want to hear about this, homie.
So forget about it, cuz.
I said forget about it, cuh. Anyway. What do you say we just keep moving on, cuh? Let's go. Okay, thank you for reminding me that existed. That did make me feel better about being alive. So anyway, let's go to the next one here. Also from Lewis Murphs. You say, who do you think is the best actor of our generation? I'm starting to think it's Leonardo DiCaprio. Anytime he's on screen, I'm instantly captivated. The mix of genres he's been in, the directors he's worked with, the resume is outstanding. And you also get a party popper. So, I love me some Leonardo DiCaprio. I really do. He is probably one of my favorite actors. I think some people might say someone like Daniel Day-Lewis, but he really hasn't been in a lot of things that I love. Don't get me wrong. He's given some great performances. You know, you look at There Will Be Blood, Last of the Mohicans. He played Abraham Lincoln. You know, but outside of There Will Be Blood and Bill the Butcher in Gangs of New York, there's not a lot of other performances that I've loved from him. But I would arguably say Leonardo DiCaprio is at the top of my list. Another one would be, I think Christian Bale is a great method actor, great character actor. Every time he's on screen, I buy what he's selling me. The fact that he physically transforms his body every time that he takes on a role. I mean, he can go from looking like a buff badass vigilante where he gains 40 pounds of muscle to looking like Dick Cheney, who is a fat blob of grotesqueness and a corrupt politician. So, like, I liked that about Christian Bale. He always sells me every time he's on the screen. Or he can play John Connor. And may I do my John Connor impression? Please? Okay, here it goes. This is John Connor. If you hear this, you are the resistance. Keep fighting. So, yeah, it's basically Batman, but without a mask. So who do you guys think is the best actor of our generation? Let me know. Let me know down below. I mean, there's a lot of other great actors. You got Al Pacino. He's probably one of the most charismatic actors I enjoy. I like me some Tom Hardy, but the voice every time he talks, he always does this thing where you can't understand anything he's saying, and he always talks like this with an English accent, you know? And don't even make me do my real Tom Hardy impression. You guys don't want that. Okay, but if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with Dolph Lundgren. He is the greatest actor of our generation. Let's all be honest with ourselves, first and foremost. Okay, the next one comes from Zach Milne Talks Movies. TMNT adult fans need content too, bummed about The Last Ronin. Yeah, man, what a cool concept. What a waste of a cool concept. And you know what? You just think to yourself, why doesn't Paramount, why don't they go, okay, we're not going to make this movie. And why, I don't know, because it could be like a cool movie that you make for $100 million that capitalizes on the TMNT IP. And it also caters to adults who want a badass action movie. But also keep in mind, you go back to that throwback nostalgia of the Ninja Turtles meets a Batman vibe. And when you have all these cool things working in your favor, it just, why would you not greenlight that movie? And also, I was going to talk about this as a main topic tonight, and maybe I will. But right now, there are major studios bidding to buy Warner Brothers. Paramount is one of them. Netflix is another one of them. Now, could you imagine Netflix getting the rights to Warner Brothers and then owning the DC properties? Could you imagine a Netflix Batman movie? Ugh. Oh, no, thank you. James Doshier says, does Marlon Brando count? I think he's of a previous generation. I really do. But definitely one of the golden age actors. Gorilla Beach Hellhound says, Independence Day 2 was atrocious, but the original still entertaining as ever. That's another great one. Absolutely. Independence Day 2 is probably one of the worst sequels I've ever seen in my entire life. I vividly remember the day I went to see it, for a multitude of reasons, some of which I can't share. But the main reason is I couldn't believe what they were doing with the movie. And then they had Chris Hemsworth's little brother, who's less talented and less charismatic, who kind of reminds me of a mannequin who can move. And they made him one of the stars of the movie. And it's just like Will Smith didn't even come back. You wasted Jeff Goldblum in the movie, sort of like you wasted Jeff Goldblum in every modern day Jurassic World movie. But yeah, Independence Day 2 was terrible. I have a review for that movie on YouTube, and I almost want to go back and rewatch it right now, but I don't want to cringe too hard. Okay, Skylar Wheelock said, let's put Carl from Slingblade in the Shawshank Redemption. And you know what's weird about that, though? That would almost fit. He could almost play an inmate of Shawshank Redemption. I could see that. Maybe he could take out the sisters with a sling blade and save Andy Dufresne. Maybe he could replace Morgan Freeman as Andy Dufresne's best friend. And all the advice, imagine that movie. All the advice that Andy Dufresne gets in the Shawshank Redemption, instead of having that thought-provoking gravitas of Morgan Freeman, you either get busy living or you get busy dying. You don't have any of that shit. You just have this, I reckon. I would be okay with that. I'm just saying, in an alternate universe, I could see that being in the movie. Talks Movie says, it's not a rumor. They are going to Sonicify it, and I think it's going to be awesome. I completely disagree with everything you're saying right there. I really do. I do not want the Ninja Turtles to feel like a PG, watered-down movie with jokes that cater to 9-year-old children going to see a Saturday morning movie matinee with their families or their grandparents or something. I don't want that. I think it should be more. I think it can be more. And I think if you Sonicify it, then you just get like an instantly forgettable TMNT movie. Yeah, sure, little kids are going to want to watch the Ninja Turtles. It's going to make money. I get that. But is it going to resonate with anyone? Are adults going to want to see the movie? Am I going to want to see the movie? I just want something that makes me feel something and gives me a little bit of nostalgia. And most importantly, I just want a badass, visceral movie that capitalizes on nostalgic IPs, but in the best way possible. That's all I want. Okay, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Zach Mines Talks Movies, who said, TMNT adult fans need content too. Oh, we already answered that. The next one comes from Bopsy Boy. I like the name. Here it goes, Bopsy Boy. Good evening, John. I wanted to genuinely ask you, as a viewer and as someone who doesn't donate often, how are you? How is your relationship with your parents? I hope all is well. You and your family, God bless. Well, thank you for that very thought-provoking question straight from the heart, and I do appreciate that, and that does mean more than you will ever know. But as a thank you, before I answer it, I would like to give you a party popper right to your face. I hope you enjoyed that. Everything's going pretty well. I think it's going as well as it could. You know, and my family's doing well. You know, Thanksgiving's next week, so I get to see all of them, and then, you know, I can not see them for a month or two after that until Christmas. So that's going to be great, but not as great as when Thanksgiving is over and I can go home and binge watch part 1 of Stranger Things, because that's what I'm really looking forward to. But everyone's doing great. Or as great as they can, you know. But I will say this about life, and maybe you guys feel the same way. And I know you guys come here for movie talk, but I like to give you so much more than that. This is called movie therapy. And I might just rename a certain live stream per week, and I think I might call it movie therapy. Does that exist? Let me know. If it does, I don't care. I'm taking it because I'm going to make it better. But anyway, our little group therapy sessions in daylight because of the Batman. But my point is it just me, or does everything just feel like it's rapidly happening too fast? Like someone sped up time. It's going like 10% quicker than it should. And maybe it's just my internal clock and I haven't quite got adjusted to daylight savings time because it gets dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which is just depressing in itself. But it just feels like I don't have the energy to do anything. I can't leave the house anymore. Not only that, I'm afraid to leave the house because then I'm going to spend $100 just going somewhere. And it just feels like the economy is crashing, time is going faster, and I don't know if it's just my perception, but I really feel like there's a glitch in the matrix where they're speeding up time to try to get to the end quicker than we were supposed to get there, because I don't know why, but I get this weird spidey tingly sense down below. And exactly where down below, I'm not quite sure. You can use your imagination, but does anyone else feel the same way? Please let me know down below. But anyway, let's go to the next one. And the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, do you feel like projects with real artistic potential like Last Ronin are the ones that always get scrapped first? And why does it seem like the industry keeps shelving meaningful stories in favor of formulaic reboots? You have to understand, they have certain demographics to appease. You know, if we don't offend anyone and we don't make it too good, we'll have it somewhere in the middle, right? And it'll be instantly forgettable, but we'll make a few dollars along the way. I don't know why this is the formula. I don't understand it, and I wish studios would take more risks. And other things that I wish studios would do, and especially Netflix, who can just make whatever they want. They can pop it out on streaming, but they also make watered-down movies that cater to mass-appealing audiences. And once again, I understand that those are the types of movies that are easy to watch. You can watch them. You can comprehend it. You're in, you're out. I got some content. But I don't just want content. I want to feel something. I want a reason to go back and rewatch that movie again so I can have those same emotions once again, because that's what movies are and should always be. These are moving picture shows that induce a feeling inside of you. And that's what's lacking. I just feel like I was shot with some Novocaine right in the neck and I feel nothing. I feel like a troglodyte just with my eyes open. You know what I feel like? I feel like Carl from Slingblade just looking at Netflix. Yep. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And by the way, real quick on a side note, I did want to share this with you guys. I finally finished Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein on Netflix. It took me probably 4 viewings to get through it. I almost treated it episodically. I watched like 45 minutes at a time. And I will say this when it comes to this movie. I thought it was okay. But it definitely had like a Netflix vibe to it. Not only the way that it looked very digital and a little bit too clean for an 1800s Frankenstein movie that should be kind of gritty and dark and gothy looking. It looked so digital. At times it looked like a Marvel movie. There was one scene where Oscar Isaac, there's an explosion and he flies back. And it just looked like the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, where it didn't even look like the rules of physics were even thought upon when they made this sequence. It looked like a comic book. But then you have Jacob Elordi, who plays Frankenstein, and the dude's like 6'5". I liked him in Euphoria. I liked him in Euphoria. And I think part 2 of Frankenstein, the story of part 2, which is sort of Frankenstein's portrayal of the story and his version of events. I thought that was much more entertaining. But there were just some like dumb things that they did in the screenplay. Just like little dumb ideas that sort of like dropped the IQ of the movie a little bit. And I mentioned this on the last live show, but I also said this going back to it feeling like a Netflix movie. And if you guys are picking up what I'm putting down, please let me know down below. It just felt like everything was so on the nose and so explained to you, to where you didn't have to really figure out what was happening and what were the motivations of everyone. It just told you these things. So it was okay. It wasn't the classic Frankenstein movie I was hoping it would be. Yeah, Makano says it was very paint by the numbers, nothing new. Absolutely. Yeah, oh, I know he's 6'5" in real life. Yes, I'm very aware. Also, there was one scene, and the cool thing about Frankenstein in this movie, he basically regenerates like he's Wolverine. But there was one scene where he gets shot, and it's like you think he's dead because these people want him dead. And then he just wakes up and he has this narration where he's like, at that point, I didn't know how long I had been dead for. All I saw was darkness. And then I got up and left. And it's just like, why do those people shoot this big monster creature who's basically like on the edge of their driveway and they just walked away and didn't think to like maybe burn the body or anything like that? Like, how long was he just laying there, his corpse? Like, these people lived like a football throw away from where they murdered Frankenstein, so he had to lay there and regenerate for some time before he got up and left. That'd be like me killing a monster at the edge of my driveway, and then a week just goes by, and like I take out the trash, I see the body there, and I'm like, okay. And then I go back inside, and I just don't do anything about it. And then one day he regenerates and walks away. So I just thought little dumb shit like that was stupid in the script. That's all I'm saying. Let's go to the next topic. The Shape of Water was the last great Guillermo del Toro movie. Yeah, you know, that I agree with you. I really do. Did you see the actor in the new trailer for Wuthering Heights with Margot Robbie? Which actor are you talking about? Oh, yeah. He was in it. Yeah, it's Jacob Lordy or whatever. Yeah, I did see him in there. That trailer played right before Wicked for Good last night. Definitely catering to that demo. Oh my God, John, I'm in the UK and feel exactly the same about daylight saving. And I've been saying it for the past 2 years, that just stepping out of the house is $100 instantly gone. It really is, man. It's terrifying to me. I don't know how anyone affords to do anything. I don't comprehend it. Like, how do people do it? I don't get it. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Avocado Balls Johnson. Just when I needed you the most, here you are. What are your top 3 prison movies? Mine are Escape from Alcatraz, Brawl in Cell Block 99, and Human Centipede 3. Well, those are some great... You got a lot... You need a psychologist, my good sir. Especially with the last one there. There's nothing like watching people eat shit, I tell you. Anyway, you know, if I had to pick my favorite 3 prison movies... I'd definitely go with Shawshank Redemption. You got to go with Shawshank. Escape from Alcatraz is good. It's definitely in the conversation right there. Another movie that's really underrated. It's called Animal Factory. And it's a great movie, and it stars Edward Furlong. And it's like, for me, Edward Furlong he could have been a great actor, and I still think he could be a great actor, but, you know, life catches up with you and whatnot. But anyway, if you've never seen Animal Factory, I definitely recommend it. It's about this young guy who goes to prison, and it's got Willem Dafoe in it, and it's kind of gritty, and it's got some messed up stuff in it. But anyway, there it is right there. Young guy goes to prison, and this older guy kind of befriends him and looks out for him. Sort of a Shawshank Redemption vibe for a modern day telling in a weird way. That's kind of actually a great descriptor for the movie, to be honest with you. Another great prison movie. I was going to say, well, you could say The Great Escape. Or you could say Blood In, Blood Out. Now, if you've never seen Blood In, Blood Out, that is a movie that will make you never, and I say never, want to go to prison. So that'd be another one of them. Oh, you know what? I'll tell you my third favorite prison movie. I got it right here. I don't know why I didn't even think about it. The name's Coffee, boss, but spelled different. You know, The Green Mile. That was a terrible Michael Clarke Duncan impression, and I will never do that again. But The Green Mile would probably be one of my favorite prison movies as well. So yeah, we'll go with those ones. I love The Green Mile. The scene where like John Coffey has to go into the house and cure the warden's wife who's dying. It's just, there's a lot to be said about that scene, and there's ways you can interpret it. And I'm not going to do it right now, but I feel like there's something to be said about that scene. You can look at a Reddit forum and figure it out for yourself. But thanks for the question, and as per usual, you get a party popper. Okay, the next one comes from James Doshier, who says, "Hey John, I'm sick today with the cold, but watching you right now, I'm feeling better by the minute." Well, you know what I like to say, I'm like a cure you can give yourself. That, or I say, if you're seeing me, you're having the worst day of your life. But either one. But thanks for that, man, and I hope you get better soon. I'll tell you something. There's nothing worse than being sick, and that's why in my later years in life, and I've always sort of been this way, I have become a complete and utter insane germaphobe. I have literally a half gallon of hand sanitizer in my car that I go through on almost a bi-weekly basis. When I get in my car, I just pump that shit like this, and my hands are all gooey and it's flinging around. I smear a little on my face, and I will not take a chance. If I touch something, I need to cleanse it and burn it immediately. I need to kill it with fire. And that's the best advice I can give you guys. I have not touched a door handle since 2006. That's the truth. And sometimes, have you ever been in a bathroom where you have to touch everything? The handle to the toilet, the handle to the paper towels. That's if they even have paper towels. 90% of the time, they just have the hand dryer, which I refuse to use because all that's doing is blowing up hot poop particles at your face. Then they have the faucet, which you have to touch. And then the worst part is they have the door handle that you have to touch. So at some point, it's just like, I almost feel like it's cleaner not to wash my hands. Like I'll use my shirt, I will open the door, I'll wait for someone else to come in the bathroom, and I'll sneak through the door before it closes. John, if you were the last person I saw before I died, I could die happy. That is the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. So thank you for that. So thank you. Yeah, that means a lot, man. That does mean a lot. I'm glad you're dead. See, would you laugh if I said that to you on your deathbed? Does Escape from New York count? You know what? I say it does. I think Escape from New York does count as one of the ultimate prison movies. The name's Snake. I thought you'd be a lot bigger. I've been meaning to rewatch Escape from New York for a while now. At Walmart, every time I walk in there, they have a 4K steelbook of it, and I want to buy it. And it's just, I don't want to spend that much money on it. And I'm hoping for like Black Friday, there's a deal or something I can find on it. So, and also, guys, I do want to make like a Black Friday video. If I can, if there's anything to go buy at a physical location. And by the way, right now in the comments, or once the video goes live, if you're watching, that way I can actually see them. let me know if there's any really good Black Friday deals going on this year. I've done some research. I might make a video about it or include it in a live stream like next week. But I'm going to do my best. Skylar Wheelock says, you're living your life like Howard Hughes from The Aviator. Yeah, I basically am, except I'm not locking myself in my room, though I would. Now, hear me out for a second. If I was a wealthy, and I mean filthy rich son of a bitch, I would be the most recluse, kooky guy on the planet. I would be like Howard Hughes. And I would even pee in pickle jars and hide them in my room and never leave. I would do such things. I'm just putting it out there. I'm hoping to get a decent 4K player at Best Buy. You know the crazy thing about 4K players? They have been like the same price for like the last 8 years. It's weird. That's like one technology that never truly gets cheaper. It just kind of stays at the same price point. It's kind of bizarre. It's like pizzas. Like getting a pizza delivered to your house cost the same in 1990 as it does in 2025. Isn't that like a weird phenomenon? Those are the two things that never change prices. James Dozier says, I think there are some Black Friday deals on Amazon if you want to do that. Yeah, you know, hey guys, welcome to the brand new Flick Trip video. Today, you guys can watch me in a screen recording of me scroll on Amazon to buy shit. And that's really what it's becoming, isn't it? and then I conclude the Flick Trip with getting up, walking to my front door, and then I have a wide shot of my house. I open up the front door, I pick up the package, and I walk inside, and I sit down and say, okay, here's the Flick Trip conclusion. Like, isn't life just not what it used to be? Best Buy, damn you to hell for taking away my physical media. You know what I just came across today? I came across this YouTube short video that I made. A couple years ago when Black Friday shut down, and I was watching it. It was like the last video I made it was the last video I made in Best Buy showing the physical media before they got rid of it and banished it. But yeah, it was like a quick little 60-second video, and I watched that today. It randomly popped up in my feed, and I was like, oh man, I miss this. It feels like another life ago, you know? Another lifetime ago. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Gorilla Beach Holland 4504, who says, hey Johnny, did you ever find out who the mystery M was who gave you a massive amount of super chats, and congrats on almost 15 years on YouTube? I did not find out who that is. I have a few theories, but I'm not quite sure. It's either another notable YouTuber who has a fake account, and that's okay by me, or it was somebody that maybe I know, but maybe not, or maybe it was Macaulay Culkin. I'm not quite sure who it was. But if the Mystery M is watching, please let us know. And by the way, and thank you for that question. And backing up for a few seconds here, James Dozier, I hope you get better soon. Here's your party popper. Nothing cures illness more than a party popper, right to the face. The medical science does not want to tell you that, but it's true. Okay, the next one comes from Akai Nai. How's it going, Akai? Hey, John, if you had the chance to fly... I'm sorry. Why do I even say shit like that? Hey, John, if you had the chance to fix any movie that didn't turn out the way you wanted, what movie would it be? Mine would be Endgame. I love the movie, but didn't like the time travel aspects. Interesting. What was it about the time travel aspects that you didn't like? For me, yeah, they get a little bit wonky here and there, but you know, for me, it ended in a nice, logical, fulfilling way, you know, and I liked that Iron Man made the ultimate sacrifice and he died. I liked that. Like, oh, they did it. They pulled on the heartstrings a little bit. Someone needed to do that, and Iron Man did it. He finally laid on the line. And then you had Captain America, who sort of got his happy ending. So, I was happy with Endgame. I really was. I mean, there's always room for improvement, is there not? But, but when it comes to movies, if I could go back and fix them and make them better movies, what would they be? Well, I would say I'll just start here. Every single sequel to the Terminator franchise after Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I think those all could have been great movies, but they weren't. They were all very disappointing, to say the least. I think if I could go back and somehow make it the movie I wanted it to be, Batman v Superman could have been a cool ass movie. I mean, you have Batman fighting Superman. That just lends itself to being quality entertainment, does it not? But it didn't quite get to where I thought it should have been. That's another movie. You could say something like... And it's sort of like a guilty pleasure movie, and I don't think it's terrible. It's not exactly the movie it could have been. Something like maybe like World War Z could have been better than it was. It's entertaining, but not the greatest. And there's a billion other movies that had the potential, had the great concept, probably had the talent, but they just couldn't quite make it all come together. And that's my question for you guys. What is a movie that if you could go back in time and fix it and make it better, what would it be? So anyway, Akai, thanks for the question. There's your party popper. Oh, I saw one over here that said League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That movie is like a shitty guilty pleasure movie that I occasionally watch. And by occasionally watch, I mean every 10 years I'll watch the first half of it. And then once it gets to the one villainous guy who takes the Dr. Hyde serum and then he turns into a big boiling pussy looking Red Hulk that looks like he's about to pop. Can we just look at this guy for a second so you know what the hell I'm talking about? The Eternals could have been better too. Red guy, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Oh, come on. Okay, hey Jamie, pull that picture up of the red guy from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I wish I had a little helper here. Okay, let's look at this shit. Here, look. Where is it? Why is this not popping up? Here, give me a second. I got to show you this. Okay, here it is. This is what I'm talking about. Look at this shit right here. Have you ever just had a boil on your ball sack? And that's exactly what it looked like. That's what this guy looked like. I always liked him though. I always sort of liked the character design of this. This is like what happens when a guy with bad intentions takes steroids. You get this right here. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. It took entirely too long to find that, but looks like John from 2016. Hey, that's not nice, but I'll take it. I had great trap definition. How dare you? Okay. Suicide Squad 20 or Suicide Squad. Which Suicide Squad? Both of them kind of lacked their full potential, did they not? Oh, I would have fixed the new Star Wars movies. Yes. You know what? Yes, absolutely. Like Rise of Skywalker. I'm sorry. Let's back up. Return. What was the right? Not Rise of Skywalker. The Force Awakens. Yes, that's the subtitle to that movie. It was fine. It had a good starting point. They had options to go beyond it. But what did they do? Well, then they made that meta movie that we do not want to talk about. And then they made Rise of Skywalker, which was the most bastardized, afterthought, let's capitalize on IP that already exists somewhere because we have no original ideas. We don't know what the hell we're doing. So let's just combine all of this junk together that makes no sense with a plot that's boring and not have a culmination that is appeasing to anyone watching it. Just think about that. They could do anything they wanted with their Star Wars franchise, and they still can. And what we're getting is just baffling, isn't it? It's just like you have the rights to all these great characters, this entire universe in a galaxy far, far away. And the best thing you could do is shit out little baby Grogu? That's your best idea in the last 15 years? But I am looking forward to the new Ryan Gosling Star Wars spin-off movie. I'm hoping it's good. I really am. Akai NG says, totally get it. Loved each of their endings. I just felt like going back in time felt like a clip show. Like, remember this, guys? I get that. I just kind of summed it up into Avengers Endgame where they're just hitting some of the high notes and reliving it. But the time travel aspect sort of made sense because that was really the only logical way to fix everything. So, but I understand where you're coming from. Okay, the next one comes from Stuckman's Hot Bottom. That sucks. Should I watch the latest TMNT TV show? I don't know. Go for it. I never watched it, so I have no advice. Maybe people in the chat can give you some recommendations. Never watched it. Gerbinski says, John, what's the movie that you love but everyone else seems to hate? Where do I even start with that? Not only will I give you one, but I think I can give you 3 movies. And the first one's going to be Over the Top. I really, truly never feel like people have appreciated that movie for what it is and how great it is. Now, let's all understand that the backdrop of this movie, the driving force of the movie is it revolves around an arm wrestling match, okay? And I understand the absurdity of that, but it has great over-the-top characters. And if ever there was a movie that did arm wrestling justice with pure intensity, testosterone, dudes slapping each other, turning red as shit, looking like looking like this guy right here from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, who looks like a hemorrhoid on the ass of the toughest man who's ever lived. That's what Over the Top is. But also, there's heart to the story that I feel like people aren't appreciating. And maybe it's because I grew up in a broken home and I had a dysfunctional upbringing of parents who were divorced. I always enjoyed that relationship that little Mikey had with his father, who was a trucker. I always related to it. I liked it. I thought it was inspiring. And he learns to go under his father's wing and start working out. And they start just working out one arm on those long truck drives. And I thought it was great. Plus the soundtrack to it's phenomenal. But another movie is Waterworld. I like Waterworld quite a bit. I think it's a big epic. Yeah, it's corny as shit. And I think the first act is by far the best. But I quite enjoy it. And the last movie I want to talk about that I almost bought on 4K the other day at a used physical media store. It was $7, but for some odd reason, I couldn't pull the trigger on it because I knew secretly deep down inside, yes, I do want the 4K of this movie, but will I ever watch the 4K of this movie? And that's a question you have to ask yourself when you purchase physical media. But it was Van Helsing, and I think that's a nice guilty pleasure movie. So those are a few movies that I quite enjoy. X-Men Origins Wolverine, well, that's a choice. I think all 3 movies that I said look like The Shawshank Redemption compared to X-Men Origins Wolverine. RoboCop 3 was so bad and depressing, they have never should have replaced Peter Weller or killed Nancy off. So fun story about RoboCop 3. I actually saw that movie in theaters back in 1990, was it 3 or 4, with my dad at a shitty, dilapidated theater here in town that has since closed down. But I vividly remember seeing that movie for some odd reason and thinking to myself, I was like, that doesn't look like the original RoboCop. He kind of looks weird. And this movie feels cheap, and it was. The Running Man 2025, that is a great pick. A movie that could have been so much more, but just simply was not. The Running Man, and I've talked about this in the last live stream for like 15 minutes, so I won't do it again, but the new Running Man movie from Edgar Wright, didn't it just feel like a movie that you would have watched in 2010? Like, it reminded me of that Colin Farrell Total Recall remake that was just so generic and bland, and it's just like, here's this movie that you're not going to want to watch again. Okay. So, yeah, it's a really big letdown. I think there's a lot they could have done with the new Running Man movie. I really do. Like, it could have been like a 4-episode series on Netflix or something. They could have done so much more. And I really don't think Edgar Wright was the right choice for it. And I think I'm sort of growing out of love with Edgar Wright movies. Like, I like the original, like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. I like those things. But when he tries to do something big scale and like a bit epic, it just isn't the vibe and tone I want. I don't want that comedy style with like an epic story that you're subverting all the expectations for the sake of making like a joke at the end of the scene. I just don't think I like the clashing of those two things anymore. And maybe that's just me. Maybe that's a personal problem. But I really don't think Edgar Wright was the right choice whatsoever for this. And the other thing that's really baffling when it comes to Edgar Wright directing The Running Man was he was adamant that this was like a passion project. This is the movie. Like, if he could make any movie, this was the one he wanted to make. He really thought he had something to say. And ultimately, when you watch the movie, you go, what did you want to say here? Like, this has all been said somewhere else, like, but better. And when it comes to the comedy aspect of it, that wasn't funny either. So let's go to the next question. But thanks for that. The next one comes from Absolute Cinema. And by the way, Vorgbinski, here's your party popper. Okay, Absolute Cinema says, thoughts on Netflix possibly buying Warner Bros. We talked about that a few minutes back. That sounds terrifying to me. Now just hear me out for 1 second. Let's step back just for 1 second and really examine this. Let's understand the gravity of this situation first and foremost, okay? Before we move on and make an irrational decision that we're going to regret for the rest of our lives. Hear me out. Imagine all of the Warner Brothers movies that you like. Now, there's a lot of bad ones, but there's some good ones, right? Every once in a while, you get a great movie from Warner Bros., right? They're a great studio. But now imagine Netflix owns all of those screenplays, all those upcoming screenplays, all of those IPs that they currently own. Now imagine all of those being Netflixified, where they're just watered down. They all look very digital. They're overlit. There's no shadows in them. They can't use big words because they don't want to confuse the mass audience of people that have Netflix subscriptions. That when they watch movies, or their version of watching a movie at home is, yeah, let's put this on and I'll walk over here and look at TikTok. Oh yeah, there's a movie over there. Yep. And they make movies on Netflix to where you can miss 10 minutes of the movie, but you don't really miss anything. So imagine Netflix acquiring the rights to Warner Bros. And now that's the type of films you're going to get with their established IPs and their franchises. And the biggest thing that scares me going back to this is, like, they own DC. And taking those characters and having Netflix control what they do and what those movies look like. And maybe you could make the argument, well, James Gunn's kind of already making his Netflix version of Superman. I know. Don't get mad at me. I'm just saying it has the same vibe, does it not? A lot of jokes. It looks overlit. It looks like a Netflix movie. It looks very digital and glossy. But anyway, but I think of other characters that I enjoy even more. And I think of like a Netflix Batman movie. And I go, yeah, I don't think that's going to be what I want. I don't think it's going to be what anyone wants. But there's tons of other properties that they own. And I just don't think we'd get the same grittiness or thought-provoking bits of cinema in the future if everything was controlled by Netflix. And that would be terrifying to me. Now, if another studio like Paramount or Universal buys Warner Brothers, okay, I can live with that. That sounds fine to me. But the scariest one out of all of them is if Netflix acquires those things. That to me is terrifying. And I almost wonder if Netflix probably has the most money to play with by buying this. I mean, they kind of need it in a way. I mean, but I don't want them to buy it. So what do you guys think about that? Does it terrify you that a streaming service could end up buying Warner Brothers, and then all those great cinematic theatrical movies will just feel like a movie that you watch on streaming? Does anyone want that? Let's not forget this simple concept. When you have a streaming movie, you can pretend like it's as good as a theatrical movie. We can pretend like it is, but it's not. It's the same equivalent. It will always be the same equivalent to me as a movie that went straight to DVD. It will always be that. It will always be that. Outside of a handful of great movies, it will always be that to me. But Netflix had Stranger Things. In all honesty, I think Stranger Things is the best thing Netflix has ever done. I really do. That and Mindhunter. I really think those are the two best things they've ever done. And I would say they got lucky. Warner Bros. Already said no to Paramount. Let's just hope they keep saying no, because it feels like studios are becoming a monopoly to own all the studios. Yeah, that's another thing. It's just like too much control is a bad thing. When someone has all the properties at their fingertips and they own everything, well, now that creative freedom that you have from diversifying all those things with multiple studios, if one studio owns everything, then everything kind of might feel the same. And it's sort of like a dictatorship of like this art form that we call movies. So that's another way to look at it. Yeah, Cobra Kai, yeah. Well, that started off as a YouTube original series, so there's that. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one, and by the way, oh, here it is. Stuckman's Hot Bottom back again. Can't get enough of that. Best/worst Nick Cage performance and ex-girlfriend. Some of my exes remind me of Nicolas Cage. But anyway, my best/worst Nick Cage performance, I think the best is probably his performance in Matchstick Men for me. His worst might be Vampire's Kiss. But where do you even start with that? I mean, every arguably speaking, every performance that Nick Cage has almost given could be his best/worst performance, right? Like you have The Wicker Man. There's another one. Then you have Vampire's Kiss. Then you have, oh God, there's like 4 movies that were shitty that he starred in. I can't remember the titles of. But you have a lot of other great ones too. You know, you have Lord of War. You have Bad Lieutenant. You have, oh God, not The Weatherman. What's it called? You have Con Air. That's phenomenal stuff. Oh God, what Face Off? Another great one. National Treasure. I like National Treasure, but it's good. It's good. It's fine. I want to steal all the Declaration of Independence. What is the movie I'm thinking of? The Family Man? What am I thinking of here? Someone help me. The Family Man. That's what I'm thinking of. That's a good movie too. I like The Family Man. So Nick Cage has been in what I would say a lot of great movies, but also a lot of the worst movies ever made. And once again, The Rock. Yes, The Rock is a great... I drive a beige Volvo, okay? There's a man out there with his finger on a button. So anyway, Dream Scenario is good. I watched Dream Scenario. It was okay. Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah, I'm still waiting on the live action Spider-Man film noir thing that's supposed to be coming out with Nick Cage. Or is Nick Cage is starring in it, right? I forgot that existed. When's that coming out? Raising Arizona is a phenomenal movie. Con Air is great. Okay, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Minhazad Wakala. You know I can't read, so please forgive me, but here it goes. Love from India. In read my chat, John. Well, thank you for that. I read it. Did I miss a question somewhere? But thank you for that, man. Much love to you as well. It's crazy, man. It's so weird. There's somebody on the other side of the planet watching this right now. Isn't it like, do you guys ever just stop and think about that? Like, I know me, but like, why are you watching me? Well, I with all the other things you could be doing right now, you're here, and I will always appreciate that more than you ever know. And everyone watching right now gets you get a party popper. Here you go. This is for all of you, you sycophants, you beautiful people. Here you go. All right, let's go to the next one. Skylar Wheelock says, what do you think draws audiences to stories that humanizes villains like Wicked or Maleficent? And do you think the original Wizard of Oz still holds up in the same cultural light after seeing Wicked? Okay, let's start with the first part of that question. So, when it comes to villains, or what we perceive as villains, you have to remember, and the intelligent thing to always do is step back and comprehend this in life. And I promise you, if you just tell yourself this every time there's a conflict or a situation that arises, tell yourself this: there's always two sides to every story. Okay? So the thing about villains is, I think what makes a great villain is a villain that you can almost understand their ideology. Yeah, they're a bit extreme, and you don't agree with everything that they're doing, but when it gets down to the root of who they are, you can almost maybe not agree with, but you can comprehend why they are like they are. And I think that's great. I think that's what makes a great villain. Also, when it comes to movies, I think a charismatic villain chewing up the scenery is always the best villain. I mean, look at Heath Ledger's The Joker, for example. So, going back to your next part, going to the other part of this question here is, do I think the original Wizard of Oz still holds up culturally speaking after Oz or after Wicked? Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't undo it. It's just one perception of the story in a creative way. It doesn't remove that movie. And if you want to, use the original as actual lore into Wicked, that's fine. But for me, I'm like, oh, they're utilizing the original story in a creative way, but it doesn't replace that movie. You can just still watch that movie and pretend like it's a standalone movie where there isn't some weird backstory going on between these characters. But I also like that's what Wicked did with it. It uses that original story and twists and turns it and does something different. So I don't know. I like little things like that. Like the people who you think are good and great might not have the most honest backstory. And the people who you think are evil, well, maybe they're just the guy who got the wrong end of the stick and got blamed one too many times for something that they didn't do. I think we can all sort of relate to things like that. I know I can. I'll tell you my biggest fear in life. It's injustice. Now, I sound like Batman right now, but the truth is, injustice really pisses me off. Akai Nye says, I need a National Treasure 3 with Nick Cage. Yeah, National Treasure 2 sucked, but I would like to see a National Treasure 3 as well. And with all the money Disney spends on these failing franchises, Tron Ares, the fact that you're going to put like Jared Leto in your Tron movie and spend like $150 million on it and make all these shitty popcorn buckets that no one's buying at my theater. Every time you walk in there, there's like 500 Tron Ares popcorn buckets that nobody wants. But anyway, my point is, if you can spend all that money on like IPs that you just, anyone with 4 brain cells could probably tell you aren't going to make their money back, how aren't you making movies that you know would probably make their money back? Like National Treasure 3. People like the first National Treasure. It has a name. People like Nicolas Cage. People want a cool adventure treasure hunting movie. And the thing that they could do in National Treasure is they can open it up to make it global this time. Like do other things around the globe. Just put Nick Cage in there having a good time, looking for something. I mean, if Brendan Fraser's coming back to return to the Mummy franchise, there's absolutely no reason Nicolas Cage can't come back to look for buried treasure once again. That's all I'm saying. It's weird that you live that close to me. I'm in Ohio. Where at in Ohio? What is your address? Which town, though, in all seriousness? Okay, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from... Ooh, here it is. Skylar Wheelock, who says... And by the way, guys, I'm going to start talking a little faster with the questions. I've been giving you some very long-winded answers. And you know what's funny about all of this? I have not yet taken a drink of this Sprite Zero. So let me take a moment to do that now. Would everyone like to watch me hydrate? Here we go. And I thank you for that. Okay, here it goes. Skylar Wheelock. What movie seems to end on a high note, but the protagonist is actually pretty screwed? For me, it's Castaway. Chuck makes it home alive, but everything he loved moved on. He's free but lost, a man with no real place in the world anymore. That is a great example. Now, I would like to have a deep dive and almost give you a video essay on the fly about Castaway and why it's one of my favorite movies ever made and why I relate to it so much. Castaway is a movie where you think a man is lost and you think he loses everything, but truth is, by the end of that journey, by coming back, he actually rediscovered his purpose in life. He has an entire new lease on life. He has a new appreciation for life. He has truly awoken. And at the very end of Castaway, when he's literally at a crossroads, I think that is a beautiful moment where you have this guy and he can go any direction in life. And maybe he goes back to the lady whose husband was cheating on her and she was the reason that he survived to deliver that package back to her because she makes little shitty angel decorations or what have you. She's an artist, okay? And maybe he goes back there and he's like, hey, this kept me alive for the last 5 years. Thank you for that. And by the way, did I mention while I was on an island, my wife just started banging the dentist. Can you believe that? She couldn't even wait a couple years, just started banging the dentist. And then I came back to her house after I got back, and keep in mind, she's married and has a kid, and then she came out to the end of the driveway and made out with me in the rain. And then she's going to go back into her family. Yeah, jeez. But then again, it kind of feels like he dodged a bullet in that way. You know what I mean? Maybe she wasn't the right choice for him, ultimately speaking. And as a guy who has moved around a lot in his life, and I've been at many of crossroads, and I felt that exact same way that Chuck feels at the very end of Castaway, I've sometimes been at that crossroads. And I'd like to say every time I've been there, I feel like I went a direction and I made the most out of it. So there's that. But another one would be Back to the Future. Like the first Back to the Future, Marty thinks he saved the day, and 4 seconds later, no. You're not going on a camping trip in the Toyota pickup truck, Marty. Sorry, Doc Brown's here with Mr. Fusion. You got to get back in that bitch and go into the future. Because the guy detailing your car is going to steal an almanac, and he has a cyborg grandson who almost kills your son. So anyway, it gets a bit convoluted there as well. Oh, and by the way, after you save the day again, then you can go back to the Wild West, okay? So yeah, maybe that's another one. No movie this year is better than Castaway. I agree with you. Listen, every time I go to the theater, I want this to be the visceral experience that makes me feel something in my life that I relate to. And I don't know what it is, but we don't get those movies anymore. Movies are simple. You make someone feel something, they connect to it, they'll love the movie. It's that simple. You just do it. Yes, they did cancel the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ronin movie. We talked about that as the first topic of the live stream. So if you scroll way back to the beginning, you'll definitely check that out. So it's there. I promise you. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Gizmo Serrano, who says, "Hi, John. My favorite actor is Gary Oldman. My top 3 performances of his are Leon the Professional, True Romance, and Dracula." I like me some Gary Oldman, man. Him and Leon the Professional as the dude with dreads was phenomenal. That was great. True Romance. No, that was True Romance. I'm sorry. Wait, what am I getting mixed up right now? Which one did he have dreads in? Was it True Romance? Oh my God. I just had a brain fart. Now diarrhea is spewing out of my mouth. Anyway, and in Dracula, he was good as Dracula. I've only seen Dracula like one time though, so I'd have to go back and revisit it. But I like me some Gary Oldman. I liked him as Commissioner Gordon quite a bit. Okay, let's keep going here. And the next one comes from Claudio Rogajan. How are you, man? Thank you for joining me. I'm looking for your question, but it's not here yet. But I do see this right here. It's coming up, I promise. I have a question from you coming up. Oh, here it is. Okay. Claudia Rogajan says, "Hi, John. I watched the movie Cobra a couple nights ago, and I just wanted to know your thoughts on the movie. I think the movie is entertaining, but I can admit it's pretty bad." Well, basically, you have Stallone, and he's eating frozen pizza with a toothpick in his mouth, and he goes against the serial killer cult gang. And I think originally that movie was supposed to be something else, and then they made Cobra out of it. So it was like they took an idea, made another idea out of it. And it's sort of like a weird mix match of like tones and themes. And I kind of like it though. I will say this. In Cobra, when it has the cult-like gang and it has the one guy that looks like Buffalo Bill with like axes, that shit's kind of terrifying. Let's all be honest. It's kind of scary. But I always liked Cobra. Lewis Mervs says, "Opinions on Alien 3. I find it so depressing." You know, Alien 3 has been a movie that I have been meaning to rewatch for like the last 4 or 5 years. And I know it's Fincher's like first theatrical film. I know it has like a cult following. I like that Ripley shaves her head in the movie. It's just been so long since I've seen it. Plus, isn't she on a prison ship? You know, the craziest thing about Alien 3 is they actually made toys for that movie, and I had them. And there were some cool ass toys, like the little xenomorph. They had like this real hard plastic tail, and you had like the one guy with the helmet on. It was cool stuff. But I would like to go back and revisit that at some point soon. Do you guys like Alien 3? Lewis Mervs also says, do you like the Avatar films, or do you think the Avatar films will continue to make crazy money, or will it fizzle out? Well, you know, I guess only time will tell, and we're about 1 month away from Avatar Fire and Ash. Now, I would be blatantly lying to you if I said I'm not looking forward to Avatar Fire and Ash. I am. I like shit like that. I like going to the theater, seeing a big bombastic epic sci-fi movie directed by James Cameron, okay? The man has talent. Now, is he sort of wasting his talent directing 9-foot-tall blue alien digital people in 5 films where 3 would have been more than enough? Yeah, I do feel that way. But I am excited to go back to Pandora. I do want to see the epicness of it and the immersion factor of it. It's fun to look at. It justifies the 3D experience if ever there was one. And it's definitely a reason to go back to the cinema, okay? But after this movie, I can give you a clear indication if I give a shit about 2 more movies. And I feel like if this 3rd installment doesn't do well, that gives almost no hope for the other 2 movies. And keep in mind, we're getting two more, not 1. No. We couldn't tell this story in 1 more 3-hour movie. We need 2. Which I guess at some point they're supposed to go back to Earth. Or have a lot more Earth in the movie. And I guess what they're really trying to do in this new Avatar is they want to terraform Pandora to be like Earth so they can have an Earth-like atmosphere on Pandora. So I don't know. And here's my other conclusion, and I don't know if they're going to do it. I could almost see them doing it. But imagine unity between Earth and humans and Pandorians, whatever they're called. Navi, that's whatever. Imagine them all living in harmony on Pandora. You know, I hope the movie doesn't end like that. So the fact that they're going back to Earth, and I do want to see like a futuristic Earth setting, I think that would be kind of cool. I don't know if we need 2 more movies. If they're good, by all means, give them to me. But then again, I will take mindless Avatar movies that are just fun to look at over 90% of the movies that I'm being inundated with at the theater. At least this one's like fun to look at, and I'm not bored watching it. Dustin Rich says, which would you rather rewatch, Edgar Wright's last movie or Chris Stuckman's first movie? So Running Man or Shelby Oaks are my options here, man, huh? I don't know. Glen Powell's okay to look at, I guess. I'd probably go with probably the Running. To be honest with you, probably the Running Man. I just think it has more to it. Clark 1140 says, which movie has best looking blood, and which movie has the most amount of blood that you've seen by the leader? Well, my God, man. The Shining had a lot of blood, did it not? At some point in there, Nightmare on Elm Street, at the scene where Johnny Depp gets butchered to death in his waterbed, had a lot of blood. Those are 2 movies that had a lot of blood. When it comes to movies that had a lot of gore and gross shit happening in the last couple of years, I would probably say I liked The Substance. That was quite enjoyable. I don't think it had necessarily the most blood of any movie by any means, but I like the utilization of said blood. Yeah, the Shining scene with the elevator. I don't think you can top that. I think that had like 490 gallons of blood, so we'll go with that. Real blood, too. Stanley Kubrick wanted real blood. All right, we got one here from Taka who says, I'm 31 years old. I'm a 31 years old Japanese dude. Where are we going with this? And at first, when I first found your channel, when I was 18. Back then, I didn't understand English at all. But long story short, I transferred to a school in the US and graduated with a degree in film. Fucking epic, right? Thanks, John. Well, thanks, Taka, and congratulations on that shit, man. And good job to you. There's a little congratulations party popper. That's awesome, man. I would not probably be the best guy to learn English from because I'm still learning it myself. I haven't quite conquered it yet, but we'll get there together. So thanks for watching, man. Okay, the next one comes from Oh, here we go. Will H. Will H says, all work and no play makes John a dull boy. John, The Shining is coming to IMAX in December. I recently rewatched Jaws, Batman 89, and The 40-Year-Old Virgin in cinemas. They were all brand new, magical, and mystical experiences on the big screen. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed those. Will I see The Shining in IMAX? I'm going to be honest with you. The Shining has some great performances in it. It definitely has a cool atmosphere to it. Visually, it's like striking and stunning to look at. Jack Nicholson, you cannot top that performance of a crazy, unhinged, alcoholic psychopath. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in. I love shit like that. And I would like to say that line to multiple people that I encounter in my everyday life. But I just don't know if I want to watch The Shining in IMAX. But I will say this. I did see at my local cinema, they are playing Hook in cinemas this holiday season. And I know what you're thinking. John won't watch The Shining in IMAX, but he'll watch Hook at the theater. And that really says a lot about me, doesn't it? Okay, Dustin Rich back again says, I used to understand English, and then I started watching your videos. Yeah, man, I'm trying my best. I know sometimes it seems like I don't know how to talk, but that's only because I'm looking at font that's like -5, and it's gray on a like darker gray backdrop, and like my screen is tilted away from me, and my vision's already going bad in my older years. So it's really hard to read. That is the point I'm getting at. And the way my brain works is when something is taking too long to say, I fill in the gaps with something quicker. That's just how I work. Okay, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from 1982 Seb, who says, Hi John, how's it going? Have you seen Jackie Chan's The Shadow's Edge? It's a good film, although it could be shorter. It would be Jackie Chan's most goriest movie. Shadow's Edge? Jackie Chan has a lot of movies I haven't seen. Oh, it just came out in 2025. I have not seen this. What's it? What kind of ratings? Let's look at these ratings together here. Rotten Tomatoes, that has an 80%, 7.5 on IMDb, 97% on... Okay. So it's good? Did you guys see this? Did you like it? What is this about? What's the synopsis? A police officer brings a retired tracking expert police officer to help catch a dangerous group of professional thieves. Okay, it's a Hong Kong movie. Interesting. Is it good? Let me know. Okay. The next one comes from... Yeah, I haven't seen it. I want it. It sounds cool. It looks like people like it. I'm interested. I don't think I've heard much about it yet. Okay, the next one comes from Libby Films. How's it going, Libby Films? Imagine a cabin in the woods movie with Busta Rhymes from Halloween Resurrection. Glenn/Glinda from Seed of Chucky, Alan from Sleepaway Camp 4, and Tina from Halloween 5. Well, Libby Films, we're just taking the shittiest of the shit and putting them in shit, are we not? And you know what? That could be kind of a glorious time. The Busta Rhymes aspect of that is what gets me most excited. I know Kung Fu, motherfucker. I just... yeah, you know the most enjoyable thing to do when you get really bored is watch Halloween Resurrection and watch Busta Rhymes' performance in that and where he tries to improv. There's one scene where he goes, all right, and he runs away. It's glorious. But yeah, that sounds like that could be one of the worst, most entertaining movies ever made, but thanks for the question. I think I missed one right here. Oh, and by the way, Seb, you also get a party popper right to the melon. So thank you. All right. Jesus Salcido. How's it going, buddy? Have you seen clips of the Weird Wicked interviews? I have seen those clips where they're both crazy. It looks like there was no catering on the set that day. And also they're very touchy. And I have a feeling that there's some kind of narcotics at play here, or some kind of weird psychological hallucinogent going on. And there's something bizarre about it. And it's not normal, to say the least. And it's bizarre. It's bizarre and it's unsettling. Now, by all means, they can do whatever they want. But all I'm saying is it gives me it gives me this little weird sick feeling in the back of my throat, and I don't like it. But yeah, I have seen it. Did Ariana Grande get COVID from making the movie? Oh, she got something. All right, let's go to the next one here. Rostaman Powa 91 says, rank Romulus, Prey, Badlands, Killer. I haven't seen the animated Killer of Killers movie. I know people love it. I know. Can I tell you something? I just don't. The anime style just. I just don't. It's unsettling to my eyeballs. Now I know there's a cool cameo in the movie. I've heard it's awesome. Maybe one day on a rainy day I'll check it out. But when it comes to the live action movies that you gave me here, Romulus had some good ideas, but it failed. It had some good ideas, but then it got too dumb at times for its own good. Like, it had a good starting point. I liked the aesthetics of it and that throwback to the way that the original Alien franchise looked with the late 1970s, 1980s look of the technology that they were using. I liked all of those things, and then the movie keeps going, and you're like, ooh, this isn't quite what I wanted it to be. But I think it was good, or enjoyable. I did not like the story of Prey. I just didn't really like it that much. I didn't think it was that intriguing. I didn't like how gloomy and washed out it looked. And I know it's from the same writer-director of Badlands, but I just think Badlands was the easier, more enjoyable, slightly entertaining movie. Now, I don't think it's perfect by any means. And I will say the movie did feel like The Mandalorian at times. But for the sake of argument, I will say it was maybe the most entertaining out of the bunch that you gave me. I cannot stand anime either, John. You are not alone. Yeah, I know. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's not that I don't like classic animation. There's classic Disney movies I like. It's just something about like that juddery anime style that I get why they do it, but also you understand like that style is basically to save like movement while doing illustrations, but getting movement by a static image. It's just like an easier, quicker, whatever. Let's just keep going. I've watched a lot of anime, and I get how it can be deep and thought-provoking, but I like a little more nuance, and I feel like in anime, they kind of get rid of nuance and everything's like an extreme. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But to me, that's kind of how I see anime. Night King 01 says, I just watched Red Heat with Arnold. I enjoyed it for what it was. Plus, Walter Hill does great action. Ever seen it? I've seen Red Heat probably once or twice. I had the Blu-ray for a while, and I don't think I ever watched it. I remember the plane scene. Basically, Arnold plays like a Russian cop who comes to America. Right? That's the premise. It's the fish out of water story. Okay. Someone said Ariana Grande looks like a shell of herself. By shell, do you mean a skeleton of her former self? Yeah, it's just something's going on there. I think something is not right. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. Maddie D Movies. How's it going? Hey, John. Have you seen the movie Him yet? I really think it gets too much hate. I thought the concept was great. Oh, you mean this movie right here? You know where I just pulled this out of my ass. Do you know that? I want you to know that. And that's where I'm going to put it back once I'm done talking about it. But let's talk about the movie Him. Now, I have not seen the movie Him, but I do have the 4K of the movie Him sent to me by the studio. Now, what studio put this movie out? That's a great question. Maybe I should answer that another time. Who did put this out? Oh, Universal. So thanks, Universal, for sending me the movie Him. I believe this came out November 11th. So if you want to pick up Him on 4K, and it also comes with a Blu-ray and digital copy code and a slipcover, definitely check it out this holiday season. There might even be a Black Friday sale on it. Okay, so with all that said, I have not seen this movie yet. I would like to maybe watch it. I've heard nothing but bad things about it. But let me ask you this. If you've seen the movie Him, is this at least a mildly entertaining movie to watch at 12 o'clock at night when you're going to bed and you're too lazy to find another movie on Netflix, so you watch this movie? Is it at least entertaining enough to do that? Let me know. Let me know. Oh yeah, let me put it back where it goes. Okay. The next question comes from... Damn, are we going to see... What? Damn, are we going to see John in Him Part 2? Is Him a sequel to Her? No, Him is a sequel... Well, and then the third movie in the trilogy is called They. Him, Her, They. That's... Okay. And then they do a spinoff called Me, Myself, and I. All right, let's keep going here. And the next one comes from... Thanks for the question, Maddie Movies. Am I out of party poppers already? Oh, we got one. No, I got plenty. Don't you ever think I ran out. I got plenty where that comes from. So thanks for the question, man. Night King 01 back again. The more I think about the new Avatar film, the more I question what the sequel is, since James Cameron just said there is an 8-year time jump. Well, I have a pretty good feeling that Jake Sully at some point dies, the kids grow up, thus becoming the main stars of the movie. Nateri kind of takes a back seat as an older mother character, and then we'll go from there. But... I'm definitely intrigued to watch it, man. Like, I like the Avatar movies. I do. Occasionally, like when I'm feeling a little bit down and out, maybe a little grumpy, and I just want to escape reality, like putting on Avatar, the Way of Water for a little bit's like really therapeutic. It really is. Like, just looking at it makes you happy. So there's that. So we will see. If I get a screening of Avatar Fire and Ash, I will drive to see it, and I assure you I will give you a reaction and a review of the movie, and we will talk all about it. I'm hoping it's good, and I hope it gets me excited for Avatar 4. User wait for it name username says him, her, they, the, live, us. You could make a quadrilogy out of it. Me, Myself, and Irene. That's a movie I never really thought that was. I thought that was one of the least funniest Jim Carrey movies. Except the scene where he's in the checkout line and he's like, "Oh, Vagisil. Got a little too much yeast in the oven?" Anyway, let's keep going. The next one comes from Dustin Rich, who says, do you have arachnophobia or another phobia? I have germaphobia. I literally don't like touching dirty things, and I can't get comfortable unless I shower and wash my hands. So I'll explain myself. Before I leave the house, I have to shower. Like, maybe this is too much information, but then again, I hope this is what you come here for, okay? This is the place where we can share our thoughts and our feelings and no one else can judge us, okay? But anyway, before I go to bed at night, I have to take a shower. I cannot get in my bed with the day's grime on me. I don't know how people do it. Maybe you're one of them. Maybe it's a psychological thing. But I just can't lay down in my own grime. I have to be fresh and clean. And then when I wake up in the morning, before I leave the house, now if I'm staying home that day, okay, I can walk around like a bum. But if I leave the house, I have to shower. I don't know what it is. I just have to. My hair gets all greasy and matted down to my head, and I just feel disgusting. So yeah, I'm a slight germaphobe, but I don't really have any other phobias, to be completely honest with you. Antique furniture is kind of gross to me. There's that. I am very temperamental about who touches my food, but that goes back to a germophobia thing. So yeah, I guess maybe that's it. Yeah. I hope that was a fulfilling answer. Do you guys have any phobias? Let me know down below. Dustin Rich says, would you make a good hitman? Would you tell your wife if you were? Would you tell us? Well, you know, they say the perfect crime is the only way you can get away with it is if the only person who knows the secret that you committed the crime is yourself. So probably not. Do I think I could compartmentalize enough to become a hitman and turn off all emotions to do it? If I had to. If I was like, listen, if I was, what's the term I'm looking for? This is when we know it's getting late. If the CIA hired me to be a hitman and used it against me and it was the only way I could survive in life, I think I could do it. Yes. If they recruited me, I think I could do it. Yeah. Would I want to? No. Absolutely not. I'm too tired. I'm like, I don't want to like go to Russia today and do this. I'm tired. I have a phobia of avocado pits. That says a lot. Johnny, I always need to shower before going to bed or out. Always need before going to bed. Yeah, man, I don't know how you shower. Like my hair, if I like don't wash it and then put product in it, it just looks like a matted pile of bird shit. I can walk around in my old clothes, cook or clean, but if I go to bed, I need to shower. Absolutely. I'm scared of birds. What is this? Ornithophobia? Yeah, birds carry disease. You should stay away from them. Okay, let's go to the next one here. On that note, let's go to the next question. The next one comes from Claudio Rogajan, who says, you missed my question. Where was it? I swear I've been looking for it. I answered the question about Cobra, man. That was the question. Was there another one? I think that was it, right? If there was another one, man, you put it in the normal chat and I will answer whatever you want me to. I promise you. I am sorry. Please forgive my sins against humanity. I will take a party popper to the face. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm back. All right, let's keep going. Someone said, I'm scared of going to work. Me too, man. It's the worst feeling, isn't it? All right. The next one comes from... Oh, gosh. Where are we on these questions? Always the same names. Well, if you don't want the same names, ask a question. You have the power. The power is yours. That's why I do these live streams. Whatever you want to talk about, ask it. I'm reading the chat. If you have a question or a topic that we haven't covered, chime in. It's your freedom and your right. That's what I give to you. I'm at the mercy of you right now. So basically, you don't want to be the pigeon lady. Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to, right? If you have a fear of birds and germs, the pigeon lady is sort of like the antithesis to all of those things culminated, right? She is pure evil, pure filth, pure shit. That is the bird lady. Okay, the next one comes from... Kyle 45667 says, if Tiny Todd got his own movie, what would the main plot be? Well, I'd like to think he's a truck driver who lost custody of his son, and he has to win back the love and custody of said son through an arm wrestling competition. Just putting it out there. That's what I would like to see. Also, hang on a second. Give me 1 second. We almost ran out of some party poppers, but I have a closet full of them, amongst other things. But anyway, yeah, I'd go with that. How about that? He's a truck driver. Okay. And thanks for the question. There's a dud of a party popper. I'm sorry. Here's another one. There you go. Okay, the next one comes from Lee B Films. How's it going? Oh, we already answered. We answered this already. See, Claudio, when you make me backtrack, this is what happens. Did you ask the question over here in the normal chat yet? No, you did not. Okay. Claudio Rogajan back again says, The Night Comes For Us is one of the most goriest action movies I've ever seen. Probably the goriest I have seen. It actually made me uncomfortable sometimes. The Night Comes For Us. I have not seen The Night Comes For Us yet. I have not seen it. I've not seen that movie. It came out in 2018. Never seen it, man. It's got pretty good reviews. It's got a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. Steve Goldie says they should have set the pigeon lady up with the old dude with the shovel from Home Alone 1. They would have made a great couple, and the old dude could have shoveled all that bird dropping away. You know what, Steve Goldie? That is a great idea. And the fact that they didn't do that, what a disservice to the story. You're right. That could have been a great story. You're right. That would have been a nice, fulfilling ending. Like maybe Kevin says, hey, I think I know someone that would make a good friend for you. And he gives, I don't know, shares their information or something. I don't know. Or maybe, just maybe, Kevin, unlike the grateful little bastard he is, he actually invites the pigeon lady back to his suite and his hotel room to enjoy Christmas, because let's be honest, that's what Christmas is supposed to be. And then she comes back to the hotel, and then she goes and lives with them for a while. And then the ending of the movie is she meets him while on a walk around the neighborhood. And then they walk away holding hands. And Kevin looks at her through the window and smiles. Wouldn't that have been a great Christmas moment? Nah. It just ends in Central Park with Kevin giving her a Christmas ornament as she's freezing to death in bird shit, as his dad says, Kevin, you spent $997 on room service. And it's just like, I get that you're going to complain about how much money he spent on room service. Okay. But you did get a free penthouse stay, and you did get an entire penthouse full of Christmas presents for free. So I think we can overlook the $900 Kevin spent on ice cream and cookies. And also, I'm pretty sure Kevin's father, who lives in like a $2 million Chicago suburbs home, can afford it. So I hope I answered the question. I have seen the 2012 remake of Red Dawn. I thought it was atrocious. I never thought the original was all that good either. User wait for username says, the pigeon lady needs to be hosed down with one of those high-powered sidewalk cleaning. No, she needs to be dipped in a vat of acid. It's the only way she'll get clean. Okay, let's go to the next one here. The next one comes from Maddie Movies says, hey, John, have you ever seen the movie? Oh, we answered this already. Why does it keep repeating? Here we go. Claudia Rogajon back again says, have you ever seen the movie Red Heat with Arnold and Jim Belushi? Not one of Arnold's most remembered, but what are your thoughts on it if you have seen it? Oh, I'm sorry, earlier. Were we talking about Red Heat or were we talking about Red Dawn? You have to understand, sometimes when I'm looking at these bright lights and all these questions fly by, my brain gets a little scattered. So earlier, going back to your earlier question, I have seen Red Dawn. I have seen the remake of Red Dawn. I'm not a big fan of either, but the original was so much better with the iconic cast, and it had Patrick Swayze in it. Going back to Red Heat with Arnold, I have watched it once. I was never really a big fan of it. And doesn't Arnold like punch a guy on the plane to make him go to sleep early in the movie? I don't remember a lot about it. I'm scared of loud pops. Well, this probably isn't going to be a safe place for you. All right. Hey, John, I think you missed a couple of my question, Lewis Murphs. Well, did I get to him here? Did I get him? I think I did. Yeah, I got him. Yeah, sometimes I jump around because the chat moves, and then I get older questions a little bit later. I'm sorry. But here's one. Lewis Murphs says, I watched Collateral for the first time the other day. Great movie, performances fantastic. I just couldn't buy Jamie Foxx's character beating Tom Cruise in a shooting match at the end. I know it's just a movie, but still a minor nitpick. And I will agree with you 100%. You had Vincent, played by Tom Cruise, probably one of his best performances ever given, and I love the nighttime vibe of Collateral. I love movies that take place at night, that don't feel overproduced or over-stylized. It's like the perfect movie, in my opinion. But, yeah, the shootout sequence at the very end on the subway, you have a hitman who's a badass marksman. And then you have Jamie Foxx, who just 12 minutes ago was a shitty cab driver. Now he's winning a shootout. But you also have to keep in mind, at this point, Vincent was hurt. So he's not really up to par. He's not at 100%. So his reflexes aren't where they should be. Also, he's on a subway. So the lights are flickering. He can't really see what's happening. So there were some obstacles in the way of that shootout. But I do completely agree with what you're saying. I do agree. Could you imagine the ending of that movie If they had done the dark ending of that movie, Vincent, the hitman, kills Jamie Foxx. He dies. Good guy dies. Vincent gets away. Thus, we could have had a sequel. Huh? I could watch another sequel to that. All right. Dustin Rich says, you missed my super chat from a few months ago. Well, Dustin, now's the time to shine, man. Best Elizabeth Olsen movie. I didn't see the new movie that she just came out with called Eternity. I'm pretty sure it'll be on like streaming in like 3 days. Did anyone watch that Eternity movie where she's just stuck there with her 2 different husbands and they have to fight for her attention? I'm sorry, but if I get married to you and we die and we have to like bide for your attention because you can't make up your mind, like just move on. There's plenty of other single chicks up in heaven, I'm sure, right? But favorite Elizabeth Olsen movie? I don't, outside of playing like Scarlet Witch, what big movies has she been in? It's not out yet? I thought it came out. It was a mystery. Oh, it was a mystery movie a couple weeks ago or a week or two ago at my local theater. And I knew which movie it was going to be, but I simply just didn't feel like getting up to go see it. John, did you ever react to the new Michael Jackson movie? I did talk about it. I did talk about it a live stream or two ago. I think the trailer, listen, and what they're going to do is they're going to celebrate Michael Jackson's life and his music, and they're going to cater to the hardcore fan base. And they're not really going to dive too much into the 90s drama, because as far as I know, the Michael Jackson biopic, at least the first part, if they do make a second part, ends off at the end of the 1980s. So it's before you get all the accusations and Michael Jackson hanging out with small children, making them drink Jesus juice in his bed. Now, you can say what you will about that, but I still think that's kind of weird, right? But I am interested to watch the origin story, and I hope it's just not so glamorized, sort of like what they did with Bohemian Rhapsody, where they just glossed over all the grittiness and said, let's focus on the performances and the music. And I guess you can do that, but it's not a true fulfilling biopic for me if they don't. But I don't think they're going to dive into that grittiness. And, even if they could focus on his childhood a little bit, where his dad was super abusive and he didn't really have an adolescent childhood, and that's part of the trauma that really made him who he is, and why he lived in a compound that he called Neverland and wanted to be Peter Pan. I mean, there's a lot of psychological trauma that I hope that they at least delve into a little bit in the movie. But on a positive note, there are things about the movie I'm looking forward to, like the behind the scenes making of Thriller. I think that'll be kind of cool. His music, his performances, I think are all cool, but there's definitely a flip side to all of those things. And I think to do a true biopic justice, you should have both of those things. But then again, I think they had to get approval from his family to do this. So, it's going to be a little glossy. What is Jesus juice? It was basically wine or chocolate milk mixed with sleeping pills. That's Jesus juice. I watched Kindergarten Cop some weeks ago. It was one of Arnold's most heartfelt movies. Kindergarten Cop is a great time. I love the little kid in the movie. My lasers will keep the bad guys away. And he puts little tinfoil lasers on a radio tower. Who's your daddy and what does he do? It's a great movie. I really enjoy it. I like I think they filmed that in Washington somewhere, or maybe like Portland, but I like the rainy little town it takes place in. It's a fun movie. My wife is a kindergarten teacher, and she quite enjoys it too. And I'm like, if I was a kindergarten teacher, I'd be doing the same shit he does. Every time I watch that movie and all the kids are drinking their milk and laying down for nap time, I'm just like, I miss those. I miss being a child. I do. Using like glue sticks. Oh, I'd give any. I wish I had a reason to use a glue stick other than to sniff it before I go to bed. The old Bill Cosby cocktail. You got it, man. I hope Netflix gets Warner Bros. Why? So you just get an influx of more shitty movies? But at least you can watch them at home. It's Astoria, Oregon, where the Goonies are filmed. Yes, you're right. I kind of like that environment. Some people say rain is depressing and gloomy days depress them. Nah, not me, man. It energizes me. I like it. I think it's relaxing. It keeps everyone inside and washes all the filth away. Congrats on getting married. I missed the news. Well, thank you for that. It's been over a year now, but I will take it. So thank you. Netflix did say they'll do it theatrically. Yeah, but here's the other thing. Will everything feel like a Netflix movie, but theatrically? Or will they allow these movies to be like real movies? That's the question you have to ask yourself. But you have to understand from Netflix viewpoint, though, that catalog of titles, just to own them and put them on their streaming service would be pretty useful, would it not? I mean, you basically have to think everything that's on HBO right now or HBO Max would be owned by Netflix. That's a huge catalog of shit. John, what's your prediction for Cena's last match? I don't know, man. I said I would like it to be like a fatal 4-way match. A 1v1 just doesn't seem like enough for me. But I have no clue. I don't know if Edge is coming back. I don't know if Chris Jericho's coming back. I don't know if they're going to do the obvious thing and have Gunther be his last opponent, which I think is kind of a boring, obvious choice, and I hope they don't do that. So I'm not quite sure. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm really looking forward to watching War Games next Saturday in my underwear. I can't wait to do that. So I don't know. Those are my predictions. So Lewis Murphs, did I answer all of the questions or did I still miss one, man? Let me know in the normal chat. DV Dean Reacts says, I've noticed a rise in YouTubers reacting to international content. Do you have any thoughts on this? Also, have you seen Snack Shack yet? I have not seen Snack Shack yet. And as far as reacting to international content, well, maybe they're just trying to open up their viewership to other demos of viewers in other geographical regions, I guess. I don't know. I know India has a huge populace of people who would probably watch content if I catered it to them, which might be beneficial, I guess, but I don't know. I just react to the stuff I care about. Rainy days are beautiful. I agree. They're so relaxing. It gives you a reason to stay inside and get shit done without feeling obligated to go outside. Dustin Rich says, do you have fast food in your freezer that you ordered earlier today or yesterday? That's a sign of some kind of schizophrenia. Well, that's a good... Well, okay, so here's the truth. No and yes. I would have, but I ate it already. But I do have some extra cinnamon twist from Taco Bell that I'm really looking forward to indulging in later. But I think after this live stream, I either might go get some food or make a frozen pizza. Because believe it or not, talking to a camera for 2.5 hours really does use up a lot of energy and burns a lot of carbs. It's going to be some dude from NXT. Yeah, it probably might for John Cena's last match, but I'm hoping like it's a triple threat or fatal 4-way match where they can have a young up-and-coming dude. But I don't know. We'll see. I was upset it wasn't Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder's cool and all, but I've never been a big fan of his in-ring performance. I listen to his podcasts and stuff. When he's in-ring, he just doesn't really do anything that's that mystifying to me. All right. The next one comes from Jokerface5016 says, John, thoughts on the Bone Collector film? Dude, I vaguely remember the Bone Collector. Well, let's look it up. Denzel Washington, Angelina Jolie. I don't remember this movie. I don't remember anything about it, to be honest with you. I know I've seen it. I just don't remember it. I'm sorry. Angelina Jolie, looking glorious. Yeah, I know I've seen it a long time ago. I just don't remember it. That was like, was the Bone Collector based on a novel? It just felt like another one of those like movies based on a novel where you had like this mystery and a serial killer and this detective couple. I kind of miss that genre. We don't get enough of that anymore. It's all we used to get in the late 90s. Pronounced psychosis, now pronounced schizophrenia. There are two different words with two different meanings. I don't know. You could have the psychosis of someone could be schizophrenic, could it not? Don't ever try to correct me again. But thank you, Dustin. John, do you still use a compressor in your microphone? I don't know. I don't know if this has a compressor. I don't think... You mean condenser? I had a condenser. Well, most good mics have a condenser built into them to some degree. Does this one have that? I don't know. I use a Samson G-Track Pro. It might. When it comes to audio, I've always been a lazy audio guy. I like something that you plug in. I'm not using a soundboard or a mixer. I don't want to do any of that shit. Okay, Carl Wilson, 82, says, if you had to replace Arnold in one of his best movies, which movie and who? So I got to replace Arnold in one of his best movies with somebody else? Okay, I'm going to go with Billy Bob Thornton and Predator. Billy Bob Thornton and Predator. There you go. That's what I want. And we're going back to how we started the chat tonight. I want Billy Bob Thornton's character Carl from Slingblade and Predator. Do it. Do it now. Come kill me. Yep. I'll go with that. No, I honestly think you could have replaced Arnold as Mr. Freeze, but then again, the movie was so bad it just felt right. I'm trying to think of an Arnold movie where you could replace him with somebody else. Could you imagine? Okay, let me ask you this. Now, first and foremost, I just watched T2 Judgment Day last night for like the 987th time in my life. And I was telling my wife, I was like, Arnold was made for this role, right? Like, you could not have another human being play this role as well as Arnold did with his strong Austrian accent. But the most fascinating thing about Terminator 2 Judgment Day is, at one point, he does imitate the voice of John Connor. How's Wolfie? I hear him barking in the back. Wolfie's fine, honey. Come home for dinner. And he hangs up the phone and goes, your foster parents are dead. But the point I'm trying to make here is he can imitate anyone's voice to blend in. And what does he do? Well, his voice is a strong Austrian accent that simply makes him sound like a robot. So I don't know if that was the best disguise. Just putting it out there, Arnold. But anyway, back to the point. I don't know. Could you imagine Stallone in Jingle All the Way? I almost could imagine that movie. Last Action Hero, Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, I honestly could see Stallone in Last Action Hero as well. Get to the chopper. Get to the chopper. John, please give us a Nick Nolte.
The real nice thing we did for that boy in that tank, Tommy.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to answer a few more questions, and I'm going to wrap up tonight's live stream. Soon as someone asks for the Nick Nolte question, I always think it's like, okay, we've ran out of shit to talk about tonight. But if you guys have anything else, please chime in the chat right now. Now is the time. Shine. Give me your topics. Give me your questions. Give me your concerns. Give me your thoughts on whatever it is. Give me your thoughts. Who's your daddy and what does he do? I really don't want to see Nikki Bella as the new champion. Me either. No, thank you. Put the cookie down. Yeah. Do you have a Marco's Pizza near you? I have a Marco's. Yeah, in the area. Yeah. We do have a Marco's Pizza. We have a place called Pizza King nearby, which has really good pizza, but it always causes diarrhea. I'm like, I know this is delicious, but I'm going to pay for it in about 4 hours. I need to watch Warrior again. It's a great movie. Warrior is a phenomenal movie, man. I love it. Okay, the next one comes from... Do you remember the movie Mud? I do remember the movie Mud, and I liked the movie quite a bit. I don't think it's the most rewatchable movie because I have not watched it since like 2013. But it sort of had like that coming of age vibe with the two kids who kind of acted like real kids. And I liked that. Matthew McConaughey was great in the movie. I thought it was a good time. But yeah, it definitely was one of those movies that was kind of forgotten about, but it was good. Like if Mud came out now, I think people would be like, oh, that was a good movie. But it's also one of those movies that you go, I'm going to forget about this by next year. But I did enjoy it quite a bit. Hey, Jamie, pull that Nick Nolte impression. Yeah. Great to see the live streams back on a regular basis with these cold winter months closing, and it's important to keep them coming. Hey, I will keep making live shows as long as you keep watching, so thank you guys. All right, I think I'm going to wrap up the live show right there, but I do want to say thanks for hanging out tonight. We've been talking for 2.5 hours. As always, have a great Friday night. Have an even better Saturday, and I will see you guys sometime this next week with another new live stream, and I'll probably just do a basic Q&A live stream. I'll keep it simple, no big main topics. So, as always, and Silvio, thoughts on if looks could kill? I don't remember that. Oh, this? I always remember this DVD cover from like Blockbuster, but I never rented the movie. Is that Richard Grieco, whatever the fuck? I don't think I've seen it, man. But as always, guys, have a good night. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.